So here's what we're doing today. I need a new example for ReactForDataViz for the hybrid animation stuff that I've been working on that chapter for like 2 months now. I'm very slow, but I need to build a new example. So I figured I have about 45 minutes to an hour right now before a call. So I'm gonna just build it now in a sandbox and live stream the whole process so that it helps me focus. So that's why it's better. So we're gonna start with just setting everything up and making a making like a basic code sandbox that renders something. And I had the idea of building like a heartbeat animation out of, let's say, squares or whatever. We're gonna see what looks well, but it's going to be like a heartbeat, or maybe we should make it like something that explodes. I don't know, we'll see. We're gonna start with rendering some stuff and then figure out how to make it a nice animation that looks cool. So I'm gonna do this, and we should get, let's just start with simple squares. So we're gonna say SVG with a width equaling, let's do 100%. Let's just call it, how should we do this? SVG style equals width 100%. Height is going to be, let's say, actually let's make it 500 by 500. That's gonna be best. So 500 pixels. Height is also 500 pixels. And then the SVG is going to render our example code, which is going to be like a, let's just call it a hybrid example, because that's what it's going to be. Hybrid example, like that. And we're gonna give it a width of 500 and a height of 500. And please let me know in the chat room if I need to, why can't I click that? Oh, because it's under the chat. Please let me know in the chat room if I need to zoom this in. Right now it's set up so it's easy for me to see, but I can always zoom in. So import hybrid example from /hybrid example, and we do that hybrid example.js, and we're going to import React from React, and then we're going to export const hybrid example, export default const hybrid example equals, for now, just a hey band 2018. Why is somebody using a leaf blower outside? It's June. Sorry, that must be really loud. The hell, people. Where was I? Okay, so we're gonna start by just rendering. Let's render 4 squares next to each other. So we're going to let's add D3 as well. D3. Okay. Did I add D3? Yep. Import asterisk as D3 from D3. And then we go into here and let's start rendering. We're going to say D3. Let's render a bunch of squares in a circle. That's gonna make sense. Yeah. So we're going to say const radius equals 0 for now, or let's give it a 10, and then we render, let's say, 5 little squares. Hey Mario, how are you doing this morning? So d3.range 5 map, and we are going to return a grouping element that keeps all of these inside. Why is my computer being so slow right now? D3 range map, and for each of those we're going to render a let's call it a square, and we're going to deal with positioning very soon. Why is this? Okay. Const export default hybrid example. So we have a radius It is actually 7:57 a.m. and yeah, I'm experimenting with morning ones because in the evenings, well, I'm trying to shuffle it around a little bit and see what works better. And evenings are sometimes a bit hard because my girlfriend is asleep and stuff. And mornings, my girlfriend got a new job, so it's easier to do this in the morning because she leaves. So const square is going to be a function that renders a rectangle at, let's give it right now, x0, y equals 0, and a width of 10 and a height of 10, like that. Cool, so we're rendering a bunch of little squares here. Let's move this guy into let's add the usual transform. So g transform equals translate to $x and $y, like that. And hybrid example is going to need an x and a y. So x and y, x equals 250, y equals 250. Cool, so now it's here in the middle. We have, this is actually, I promise you, this is 5 squares. So now we're going to render them in a circle around the center, and then we're going to use the hybrid animation approach to expand and contract the circle. Yes, so square is going to render at I don't actually know how to do this. I think we're gonna need sine and cosine. So x, let's put them at 10, 10 right now, so that we can prove that x and y coordinates actually work inside squares. X and y, come on, x and y, so now they're moved. Now let's see, how do we get a, we're gonna call the index from d3.range is going to be like our angle. So then we're going to translate from the angle to the, so angle and radius gives us the x and y coordinate, doesn't it? So we can say radius is 10 and n is going to be 5. So then we're gonna go to n and we're gonna get an index. And for this index, we're going to say calc x. I wonder if we can use a D3 scale for this. D3 scale angular. No, D3 scale, D3JS. Okay, so that doesn't work. Let's check out D3 documentation and see if there's any scales that can do angles for us. That would be extremely useful. Wiki. Yeah, I've gotten back into the habit of umming a lot. I need to stop that. So home D3 scale, and let's see what kind of scales do we have. D3 scale, blah blah blah, sequential, continuous, quantile, threshold, ordinal, linear, power, log, identity, time. None of those are useful to us. So let's do it this way. We have, let's do just calc x. Actually, so math.sin of, we need an angle. Is it 2 pi? Yeah. So if we take, oh, we know 360, so deg to rad, so const deg to rad equals deg to rad. Let's see, there must be a JavaScript function for this that we can just find. Degrees to radians in JavaScript math objects, pi, round, squared, rad, no, deg. Why did this show up? Degrees to radians, there we go. So degrees to radians. I'm going to... Computer, why are you doing this to me? I don't know if you can tell, but I'm having... Yes, Julian, you're right. 360... Like, why? What is my computer up to? Like, I'm having a lot of trouble just using my computer right now. So if we go back into my optimistic architecture, okay. So dec to rad is going to take degrees, and we don't, why? So degrees times math2.pi, and then radius n equals 5. So we say, oh yeah, that's what we can use the scale for. So we're going to say a const angle scale is going to be d3 equals d3 linear, no, d3, Jesus, linear scale, scale linear, and it's, hey today, so the domain is going to go from 0 to 5. The main is d3 range of n, and the range is going to go from 0 to 360 degrees, right? Or, oh, we don't even need to use dec to rad because our angle scale is going to do that for us. So we're going to say that it goes to math times pi times 2. Okay, so we have an angle scale that is a linear scale from range n. Oh, we can say domain, yeah. Yeah, we need to do it like this. 0 to n, and the range goes from 0 to 2 pi. Come on, computer. So angle scale. Here we can say we're going through angles. No, we do need d3 range dot n. So the angle scale becomes what? We say math.sin of angle scale of the index times radius. That's going to be our x coordinate. And what is it complaining about? I missed a thingy. And I think x is sinus and y is cosine. Yeah. Math.cos angle scale of index times radius. Haha, see, they're in a circle. Very nice. Now we can take the radius up to 20 and it expands, and let's make 10 of them. Cool. 50. Okay. So now we have square. Sorry, my mustache is itching my nose. And you know you've been living in the US for too long when you start using itch as a verb. Okay, so we got little squares rendering in a circle. Now let's make a transition so that when we click on it, they explode up and out. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. So radius is going to become a const n equals 10, and radius is going to become a use state hook. So we're going to have a use state, and we're also going to have a use effect, because the effect is going to start our... Actually, let's just use use state for now. So we have the angle scale, and then we can say const radius and set radius equals use state, and it begins with 10. Then we add a on click here. So on click equals, or should we do it on mouse over? I think mouse over would be cool. Let's do it on mouse over. On mouse over, say, let's just call it explode. because explode is a cool word for what we're doing. Const explode equals, or explode is going to be a function that calls set radius and sets it to, let's say, 50, 60. Let's do 60. Cool. Let's do that on mouse in, and on mouse out, let's say, so explode and contract. Const contract equals a function that says set radius equals 10. So no, mouse over and mouse out. On mouse over. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's not gonna work because on mouse out. So let's move that to the outside then. But that's not going to work either. So the problem right now is that, okay, let's just deal with on mouse out for now, and we're going to figure out on mouse out later. So we have this. Now let's see if we can add a nice transition to that. So instead of setting radius to 60 right away, we're going to start a D3 transition, but then we might need to use a use effect for that, won't we? Be right back. Let me just make sure my bird isn't getting into any trouble. Kiwi! Yes, Kiwi, see? Let me give you a seat. So I get nervous when Kiwi isn't around here when I'm working, because you never know what kind of trouble he's getting himself into. And I think he's not used to morning streaming, so he's like, what the hell, he's being too loud, I can't nap. Okay, so what I want to do is use a transition to make, yeah, hi. So what can we do? How can we do that? I used to know how to do this. Did I really forget? So we're gonna go, let's see what happens. Can we do a D3 transition like this? And let me Swizzards behind the curve. Okay, that's where I described this technique. And I'm now just trying to make sure that I still remember how this technique works. Aha, okay. So this is the rough description, isn't it? Yeah. So we have a transition is D3. Okay. That's how we're doing it. So where am I? Optimistic architecture. So we start a new D3 transition on a virtual selection. So we say D3 selection dot transition, and we give the transition a name. Crap, I keep saying transition, it's going to be called radius boom, and then we say, so transition, we give it an easing function. Let's start with the duration first. Duration is going to be 1 second, and over that 1 second, let me zoom this in so you see what I'm looking at. We're going to have a radius tween. Perfect. So tween called radius, and the tween gets a function that does stuff for us. So we got that. Now this radius D3 interpolate, we don't need that quite yet, do we? Yes, we do. So we're going to say const radius is a D3 interpolator that goes from 10 to, let's say, 60, and we return a t function, and that t function calls set radius on radius of t, and that should work. Aha! Very nice. Do you see now it transitions? Very nice. So now what we can do, we can make this even better by adding a easing function. Ease d3 ease, let's say, bounce in. Ease bounce in, and when I mouse over it, okay, let's do bounce out. That's gonna work better. Cool. That went pretty well, I think. Okay. How can we make it? Let's make the transition a little better. Nah, I don't like the bounce out easing function, but that was pretty cool. What else? What kind of other easing functions do we have? Let's try checking out a couple of different easing functions, and then I'm going to try building my own. I've never done that before, but it might work. Let's also give these squares a nicer color. Color picker. Let's see if there must be a nice color picker. Pretty color picker. I'm really bad at, oh, there we go. Scarlet looks like a cool color, or Monza. Let's use Monza. I do like Monza. So we're going to go, where are we? Optimistic architecture. Let's give this, let's say that this is a rect, and I'm gonna import styled components. Styled components, like that. And we say import styled from styled components, and then const rect equals styled rect, which has a fill of Monza and a width of 10 and a height of 10. Let's see. Width of 10 pixels, 10 pixels. Why is fill not fill red? Oh, Monza isn't a color? Why is Monza not a color? Do I need... How do I get colors out of this? Wow, that is being so freaking slow. CF00 blah. That doesn't look so good. Let's try a brighter one. What about Scarlet? FF blah blah blah. So we take this one. Cool. Okay. So we got that. Now the next thing we need is, let's see, what if we ease cubic in out? Let's try that one. Okay, so that's kind of boring. What other easing functions do we have? Ease, ooh, circle in. Ease circle in out. Hey Shmekdi, how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty well. I'm playing around with these easing functions, and I'm trying, let's see, what does back inc do? that was weird. Back out. That worked pretty well. Back in, out. Cool. Okay, that's pretty neat. Okay, so now I'm going to try to make a heartbeat animation. I have no idea how to do that, so that's gonna be great. Oh, let's do it on click actually. On click it's going to explode, and that's gonna be easier because then we can tap it and it's going to do the thing. So tap. Okay, now how do I make my own easing function? Let's see. Maybe somebody has already done this. D3 heartbeat easing function. Heartbeat using D3.js. That's not what. No, but let's see how they did it. Inside beat, now time, data, splice, duration, beat time, circle full radius, circle dot transition. Transition easing comparison, easy breezy, the big list of D3 examples, anatomy and physiology. Yes, so these are the easing functions, I know. There I go again. Heartbeat easing function. I'm sure that exists. Somebody has surely done that before. Heartbeat animation in Flash with GreenSock. A very custom easing function. How to animate a heartbeat with CSS and SVG. There we go. So these are all of the easings that exist in the world, sort of. But none of these are a heartbeat. Heartbeat animation. Wow, this is... We are getting really into old stuff here. This is Flash. But let's see. Elastic is out. That's not... I would love to see an example of how this works. That doesn't seem... There we go. Turns a custom curve, example, a heartbeat curve, into an actual timing easing function that can be used for animation. This code has been written in Swift 2. I do not know how to use Swift 2. Okay. That's the SVG heart, the animation keyframes. That does not look very heartbeaty, does it? That is just... We need it to be... Cubic Bezier. Wow. So, okay, how do we create a custom easing function then? Ease. Let's see, D3 ease. I'm sure there's a way to make custom ones. Ease, given the specific normalized time t, typically in the range 0 to 1, returns the eased time t, also typically in 0 to 1, 0 represents the starts, blah, blah, blah. easing explorer, is linear, is poly, quad, squad in out, cubic in, sin out, circle, is elastic in. This could work actually. Let's try that one. So is elastic in out. Let's do is elastic in. Where are we? How do we use that one? Is elastic in. What does that do? Is elastic, I think, needs a argument when you call it. Elastic easing like rubber band. The amplitude and period of the oscillation are configurable. Okay. So elastic in, if we say, let's say, actually let's see, D3 is elastic example. I just want to see how somebody is actually using it so that I can make sure I'm doing it right. Is elastic that's not useful. My computer, why? What if we say 0.5 here? Will that work? No. So the problem is that I'm not really sure how to provide is elastic with the arguments it needs. And we also need to add a key here. Let's call it an index. If we just say is elastic like that, then it needs to be closed. Okay, so that worked. What if we say 0.5? That I think is not gonna work. Yeah. How the hell do I provide these arguments to the isElastic function? Because it says the amplitude and period of oscillation are configurable. Oh, elastic.period. Returns a new elastic easing with the specified amplitude A. What? So elastic in out is a function that takes, okay, so that's how it works. Let's say elastic in out 0.5 0.5, and let's see what happens. Computer, why? How the hell is this exported? Is it just d3.elastic in out? d3.elastic. No, see, it's not there. What do we have to explicitly install d3ease? What if we say d3.ease dot, no, let's see, d3ease. What happens if we import that directly? So if we say import elastic in out from d3ease, will that work? So now we can here go and say ease is elastic in out 0. let's say 1 and 0.5. And let's see if that works. Nope, that doesn't work. Yeah, so this is the part that I really don't appreciate. Amplitude 1 and period 0.3. What happened? Let's console log this thing. Console log elastic in out. I have no idea how to make this work. And it's not console logging either. Is it console logging here? D3 elastic in out is not a function. Okay, let's try that again. Console log elastic in out is undefined. Why? Okay, let's console log the whole of D3 and go from there. So we have the bisect, we have all of the D3 stuff here. Come on. Okay. And then we are looking for either ease or elastic. Ease, which, and ease elastic out, these are all functions directly, but elastic just isn't even there. Okay, so what if we import asterisk as D3 ease from D3 ease, and we console log D3 ease. Let's see what that does. Also, looks like it's time for one of those $6,000 Mac computers, because this is horrible. Yeah, it's not exporting the elastic stuff. It's literally not letting me. See, these are all existing easing functions. None of them let me actually do the thing that it's saying here. Do I need to? Okay, let's go into index.js and see what this is exporting. Elastic. Oh, okay. So we need to import directly the elastic thing. Function custom, where is it getting the custom function? Elastic in, function custom. Wait. Export elastic out as is elastic from elastic out, elastic in from /elastic, and then elastic has, but they're already called with the thing, so we can't actually. Wow, that is annoying. So the documentation for D3 tells us that we can define our own amplitude and period for the elastic animation, but we can't actually. Oh, that's how we can do it. That's weird. So we gotta get the elastic easing. Yeah, so Mehdi, there's an elastic in out, but it's working via accessors. We can't do it directly. So let's try playing around with that. We're going to say here, we're going to say const elastic equals D3 elastic. Let's use elastic out, and then we can say elastic dot amplitude. Let's let's give it a 2, and elastic dot period, we can say 0.7, and we should then get a different behavior. Let's see if that finally worked. No. What if we don't change anything? D3 is elastic out. Okay, now it's gonna work. The weird thing is that this isn't throwing any errors, it's just not working. Yay, see? Now it went. What if we use elastic in out? Nah. Just elastic in. Let's stay with elastic out. The problem is that none of this is really working that great to make it look like a heart. Neat. What if we use a negative period? Let's see what happens with a negative period. Not much. Cool. And let's make the current interpolation always start with the existing radius. No. How do we get? So now I want to make it so that when we click it, it either opens or closes. But I'm having some trouble with doing that. So we have set radius t. If we say radius int d3 interpolate, now we can start the interpolation at the current radius, which means that when we click again, nothing happens. So we're gonna say, what are we gonna say? If radius is more than, no, it always starts with the radius, and then we say if the current radius is more than 10, we're going to go back to 10, otherwise we're going to go to 60. Radius more than 10, we go back to 10, otherwise we go to 60. So now when I click on it, it expands, and when I click again, it goes together. Sweet. Okay, and we can say cursor pointer. Nice. Okay, so that works pretty well, right? Now all I need to figure out is how to write a custom easing function to make it look like a heartbeat, which I have no idea how to do. I also have a call starting in about 4 + 5, 9 minutes. Let's see, D3 custom easing function. I've never done that before. Custom easing. Of course there's a block for it. Oh. Whoa. A parameterized bounce. Must return 1. Warning, many people believe bounce easing is gimmicky and recommend you use the default cubic in out instead. Whoa. Okay, this looks complicated. So bounce of D, arguments, height, return function T. D3 custom heartbeat easing function. Come on, surely somebody has built this before. The big list of D3, list of... Nope. Okay, I'm gonna stop this right now. We got the main example that I was trying to build, we got, which was how to drive animation, how to drive state transitions using D3 transitions. So we got that, and we have a nice example of how you can use D3 transitions to still get complex animations. And I'm gonna stop here, and we're gonna use this to add to the course. I'm not gonna go try to build the heartbeat function because that is apparently too difficult for me. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you again whenever next time happens. I'm honestly not really sure right now what kind of schedule I can keep, but thanks for watching and have a great Tuesday.